All right, you're a grad student or you're an undergrad and you need to write a thesis, a journal article, a book, something long, and it's gonna take you several months. How do you do that? Well, that's what we're talking about today. I'm Chris, I'm an assistant professor, and we're gonna talk about how do you manage those really long writing projects. A lot of the stuff I'm gonna be talking about today comes from two books. The first is Advice for New Faculty Members by Robert Boice from the year 2000, and the second is How to Write a Lot by Paul Silva. I'm gonna talk about these a little more later in the video. We all have these excuses on why we don't write more. Either it's hard to find these big blocks of time, I need to read more papers first, I need to do more analysis first, etc., etc. So generally there's two types of writers. There's binge writers and there's regular writers. So what are regular writers? These are people who write every day or nearly every day, and they write for short amounts of time, so 90 minutes or less. Binge writers, on the other hand, are people who write in these long, intense periods of writing. They have more time in between their writing sessions. They tend to wait for uninterrupted periods of time in order to do their work, and they can use them when they feel motivated or inspired. Binge writing tends to describe like 90% of college students. They tend to be deadline oriented. They use these binge sessions right at the last minute. And I can tell you from like grading a lot of papers and reading them that generally the quality is poor when you do that. But if we put these descriptions side by side, which of them do you think is generally more productive about getting things done over time? Well, if you study faculty members, their habits and their productivity, then regular writing is far superior over time. And so the question you really need to ask yourself is, how do I change myself from a binge writer into a regular writer? And I was absolutely guilty of this. I was a binge writer all through college, and my writing was actually quite poor. So how do you become a regular writer? Well, the first step we're gonna do is we're gonna schedule it. So we're gonna open up a calendar, we're gonna schedule it and put in regular blocks of writing time. And this should be daily or nearly daily. So for example, Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday from 8 to 9 a.m. You should treat it as obligatory, as if you had a meeting with another person. And they should be generally short amounts of time, so 90 minutes or less. You can start even at 30 minutes if you want. And you should put those blocks during your peak mental power. So if you're a morning person, you want to get it done first thing, put it in the morning. If you're a late afternoon person, put it at the end of the day. I like to schedule mine at the beginning of the day so that it's the first thing that I get done, and then I can spend the rest of the day on whatever I need to. So the benefits you get from this are like really, really good. First of all, it's easier to warm up. So if I finished writing yesterday, I know where I left off and I can pick right up on the same spot today. It makes it a lot easier to get more writing hours in during the week because I've scheduled it in my calendar and I know that I'm going to be writing at that time. Also, if you're writing in shorter blocks of time, it's easier to fit it into a busy schedule. And if it's something that you're doing every day, there's a lot less pressure associated with that activity. It's not like a special thing that you need to get done. It's just a normal part of your day that you work on now. So just by sticking it in your calendar and forcing yourself to sit there and attempt to write is going to get you a lot of the way there. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to my channel. It would be really helpful and I'd love to get some more videos out. So let's say you've gotten this far. You've got a calendar set up, you have some daily writing time that you sit at, but you still feel that it's not as productive as you feel it could be. So the next step that you want to do is start doing goals and accountability associated with that writing time. So a lot of these tips come from How to Write a Lot by Paul Silva, which is a pretty practical book, and I'd recommend it to a lot of people. So each writing session or week should have a quantifiable, small, achievable goal associated with it. Just working on your thesis is not really a good goal for your writing time. Your goals need to be something more like write 500 words a day, or write an outline of this section, or write 4 paragraphs in this section by the end of the week, or read 3 articles about this topic so that I can reference it in the next day's work. If you make these goals really easy to complete, we're more likely to undertake that work, and then you can build up this chain of success and you build the momentum to keep going and keep up your writing habits. The next thing you want to do is monitor and chart the progress of your goals. This could be as simple as a basic spreadsheet with the date, a number of words that you wrote, and a daily goal. Most people don't have an understanding of how productive they are. So tracking your progress can help you understand your own writing more, and then you would do more of it. It's the same philosophy as if you wanted to track your spending in order to spend less money. So here we've got a graph of regular writers and binge writers in a couple different categories. There's pages written per week, hours of writing per week, manuscripts submitted and accepted. If you look at faculty and study their habits and productivity, it's clear that regular writing is far superior to binge writing. And this is really the crux of Robert Boice's book, Advice for New Faculty Members, and this is where this figure's from. Okay, next step, more advanced. You could start a writing accountability group. This is a group where you get together every other week and you talk about your goals from the prior 2 weeks and set new goals for the next 2 weeks. You're not reading each other's writing in this group. Instead, you're entirely focused on how well did I complete my goals from last time, and what has been holding me back, and how can I solve these issues in the next time. And this is based around the idea that the punishment or the guilt that you get from explaining why you didn't make your goals to 5 other just as busy people as you are is a real big motivator. So take a look at this graph. This is from a study of these different mechanisms, and they found that while scheduled writing produces a pretty decent increase over writing for deadlines, if you use some sort of contingency management, or a punishment system essentially, is that you get an even larger boost in productivity. So if you have to sit there and explain to 5 of your peers why you couldn't get your work done last week, there's a big motivator trying to avoid that guilt and avoiding that embarrassment. So I've done these groups on and off for a couple of years now, and the real key about them is finding a set of people that can be invested in your success and working through your problems, because they'll know that you're willing to do the same thing to help them with their writing problems. And so it's a group that really builds off each other and builds success in the future. So to summarize, you have the tools to change your writing style if you want to. You just need to start with writing every single day, no matter how short of a time period, so that you can build up to a larger amount of time. And while you're at it, you should invest in some community building to get a set of peers who can help you, and then vice versa. So I hope this video was successful, and hope it motivates you to attempt to change your writing style or become a more regular writer. If you like this video and you want to see more, please subscribe down the bottom. If you have additional writing tips kind of in the same vein, go ahead and throw them in the comments. I'd love to read those as well.